At the bottom left, folks, in the blue, he took down Dark to get here. Pretty cool series, actually. It is Solar. And in the upper right, into the red, he's Proxy 3-raxing probably. He is Cure. I mean, as I say this, it's only 2 racks. Okay. Interesting. Oh, wow, that's very, very even all time, but it does give Solar the lead there. Oh, well. That's what would happen in a best of 3, theoretically. Solar does scout this off. But there's the best of 5 button. Gives Solar even more of a chance, actually. Huh. But the drones are going to get pulled here. It's only 4 of them. And really, the drone change, or the worker change, where there's so much better fighting, is more of a thing in large numbers. So both barracks will complete. One SCV gets rather low, and we see Solar trying to just do what he can to surround the barracks to make sure that he gets something. SCV-1 will go down, but a drone falls. And remember, though, it does feel... I've talked to a lot of Terrans, and they do feel like the worker change does kill the 2 racks. Even still, though, 2 drones have hit the deck. So that's something. But now Lings are on the way, Queens as well. And, ooh. Well, I guess that's not too surprising. Solar is staying in gas. He's going to get Ling speed. He's not cutting gas for this to make sure he has the hold, because realistically, again, drones are much better. He's just going to wait for Lings. He's got 4 on the map right now. Going to wait till maybe he gets 6, and now here come the drones to fight Lings. Well, they're going to get on top of the Marines. Certainly this bunker will never get up. And yeah, bunker's dead. So now the Marines, they run, or the Lings, they run back. Bunker gets salvaged, 75 minerals. They're back in Kira's pockets. But when the Queen pops out, and the Lings as well, I mean, this is just does not feel like it's going to do all that much. Not really. Smells like my roommate's making pancakes. That smells delicious. Something's getting fried at the very least. I don't know what it is, but I guess actually, no, I do know what it is. Kira's hopes and dreams of this 2x working in game number 1. They're absolutely, they're butterflied. They're spatchcocked, which is a great way, of course, to cook a turkey in a much quicker time, much like Kira was trying to cook this game 1 in a much quicker time. That doesn't really work, does it? I tried. Realistically, I didn't really try all that hard, but I did. I can't even take credit for it. Well, okay, the creep tumor will go down. That's a nice use of the Marines early on. You do, of course, well, especially with the creep tumor nerfs, you want to make sure that you start to spread that creep as quick as possible so you can start to get your 3rd base quick as possible. And when the Queens spend the energy there on trying to get the creep tumor up, that means they don't have as much energy for transfuses. Both of those get spent, so no injects for the time being. And it feels like Solar, yeah, this drone's dead. It feels like he's going to have to wait until Ling speed is done before he can take his 3rd base. So at least something. At least there's some opportunity for Kira to get some damage out of this just by denying the 3rd base. That's annoying. Drone runs out, drone runs back. Can't explain that one. And as the Hellions arrive here, this might be an army that Kira can fight. Lings get a good surround though, and well, while it's getting, oh no, Kira wins the fight. Okay, very, very nice. The 3rd base gets up and some Marines go down, but Kira, yeah, okay, Solar cancels it. This is not how this is supposed to go. Kira is going to finally allow a 3rd base to get up, but it's 4:30. This is not good. So Kira behind this, he's got Banshees on the way. He's going to get that 3rd base eventually, I would assume, and this pressure is just going to keep going on. He brought both barracks back home. It's a 2-1-1. I mean, technically, it's not what we think of when we think of a 2-1-1, but, you know, technically, he has 2 barracks, 1 factory, and 1 starport. So we can call it that, even if it's not really accurate, because I'm casting this, not you, and that's how that works. But this will be a 3-1-1 type of setup. Getting that 3rd barracks, getting the 3rd base, and finding his opportunity, finding his room to go into the mid game at a, you know, decent clip. 3rd base going down, not quite at the same time as Solar, but close enough for government work. And that's never where a Zerg wants to be. They want to be a base up, 2 bases up, spreading their creep onto their 4th base right now, not even their 3rd. And yeah, sure, timings are all a bit odd because this was a 2 racks, and you know, that does slow things down, that messes things up just a little bit. Even still, Kira did such a great job of denying this and taking the fight with the Hellions there, that this is, as much as we talked about how this is kind of a failed 2-1 or a 2-Rax, it's not really. Terran did a great job of, what other idioms can we use? Did a great job of making lemons from lemonade, or, well, in the words of Cave Johnson, telling life to take the lemons back. Don't you know who he is? The Banshee runs in, finds the Spore, and actually Spore unburrows, and it's going to take a while to reburrow. So, yeah, Banshee takes a lot of damage. Will take more shots, but should stay alive. And that was, what was that? Okay, 1 kill. And I guess the one side of everything, the one, I guess, upside of this situation for Solar is the fact that, you know, he's been building a lot of queens, but even then, he's not at 9, he's at 8. He's not at that optimal queen count. Ideally, like, if you're going to play this heavy defensive style, you're going to get a lot of queens. You want to be at 9 queens. 6 on the front, 1 for each mineral, 1 for each base for injects, and it's damn hard for the Terran to push through that, at least until they have 2-2 maybe, 1-1 if it's a lot of Marines and some tanks. Something like that, right? Just a lot of stuff. Certainly early game 2-on-1 type of pressure. Hellions, it doesn't find the value. But I think it's interesting here that we see Solar going Roaches. In fact, he's going Carapace first on the Roaches. He's going to get the second Evo certainly soon, and I'm actually very curious to see whether this is just Roaches for stability, and he's actually going to get melee behind this, or whether this will again be for some sort of kind of 1-1 Roach idea. But now the Marines stem forward. A couple of them are Ravagers. Well, Ravagers, they now take forever to build. Target fire on the Overseer, though. Not totally sure why that's important, because there's nothing hidden here. There are no Widow Mines. There's nothing that an Overseer needs to reveal. And while Lings get a great run by on the third base, Marines in the mineral line trying to live as long as possible. This tank will all go down. 4 SCVs have died, and hey, that's something for Solar. Solar will lose his 4th base. We saw that just happened off screen. So even when Solar finds value, you know, getting a tank, getting some Marines, getting 5 SCVs, he loses his 4th base and just is struggling to establish himself in the map, and the drop in the main base. It's only 3 Roaches here. I mean, yeah, there's a Spore, and that's going to delay the stim in just a little bit more, but now the Spore is dead. It's still only 4 Roaches, but more are starting to arrive, so there we go. That'll force things back, and the Hellions, they don't get much either. So Curious getting bits and bobs. He's not quite finding any substantive value, but he's keeping the army of Solar back. He's finding, I mean, the Banshees here. Whenever the Roaches move out, I mean, what are you going to do? The Queens need to run forward, and Banshees just cloak up and run away. I'd like to see him actually repair that Banshee. As of right now, it's not really doing all that much as this drop. Well, Roaches are defending that one. And now that Solar has a good idea of what Cure's game plan, I mean, this is how you play against Roach play. Let's be real. But now that Solar has a good understanding of what Cure's game plan is, he's going to have Roaches in every single base. It's not, oh, okay, I need to keep a bunch of Roaches at the front. No, it's you keep Roaches in the main, the natural the third, and make sure that you just have enough everywhere to deal with the presumptive double drops finding its way all over the place. And then you try to get to Hive as quick as you can. So Bailey Speed is on the way, +1 melee is on the way as Carapace finishes up. Infestation Pit is done, and Hive should be getting started pretty soon after that. And this is actually something we've seen the Zergs do a significant amount on the New Balance patch. But the funny thing is, it's not for Broodlords, it's not for Ultras. That's kind of what I expected the first couple times I saw this. It's like, well, you know, Broodlords and Ultras are buffed pretty significantly. They're just trying to get there as quick as you can. But I think what it really is more of is the fact that the Terran late game has been nerfed a little bit. And therefore, getting to the late game, getting to Adrenal Glands, getting those Cracklings, because Adrenal is effectively +3 upgrades on the Lings. And Vipers is kind of worth the rush, even without anything else. I mean, you're not going into Ultras, you're not going into Broodlords. It's just getting that Adrenal upgrade, which, realistic, it's 200. It's not that expensive in the context of some Tier 3 upgrades. It makes your Lings super spicy, and, hey, Vipers. You knock down Medivacs, you make it much harder for the Terran to fight with blinding clouds everywhere, and well, that really does significantly mess with the bio AI. They run forward and then they run into Banelings, and it's very sad for the Terran. It's kind of an interesting way to play the game. You're, again, I know I'm going on at length here, but you're not making late game for really any tech outside of the Vipers, or for any units outside of Vipers, is just to unlock some upgrades. So Solar now is maxed out. He's got 2 Vipers on the way. There we go. +2 Carapace, Adrenal Glands, and okay, he is actually getting the Ultra Cavern. This is a deviation from what we've seen players like Dark do. He actually has not been getting the Ultra Cavern whatsoever. As, well, Solar runs up to the front, but oh, he's going to be able to deal with this pressure on the right side. Good target fire from there, from Cure, to be sure. But, well. Oh, he's going to get this base? No, he's not. Although, in fairness, that base is rather low. A follow-up drop from Cure may be able to find something. And Solar, therefore, definitely leaves a bunch of roaches to buy him the time that he needs to make sure he can defend that one. And, well, this drop's going to get found out, but there is absolutely no anti-air. Well, It's not exactly what you want there, my friend. Solar kills one of his own Ravagers, but I guess maybe you want to free up some supply for those Ultras? I don't know. Drop on the right side, though, and this is a multi-prong getting ready. Let's take a look at what's happened. So drop on the right side. Meanwhile, big pressure on the left. Cure's going to knock out 2 bases for the price of 1, and it seems like he's going to be rather successful with that one as the pressure finds its way forward on the right side, or on the left side. The right side is going to get dealt with, but it's the big pressure on the left side that is causing a lot of consternation. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of banelings here. Cure thinks he's found an opportunity to really crack Solar open after he's held on for so damn long, and that's 1 base dead, 2 bases dead, and it seems like this is going to be the 3rd dead base here. Solar, from actually fighting his way back into this game, getting himself into hive tech, doing everything else, he's now a 3-hatch Zerg. He doesn't even have a macro hatcher. He hasn't pulled a dark in that way. He's got to get like 1 really good fight, and that's going to have to do it for him. He's got this sure, he's got this hatch on the way, but I mean, it's not enough. This is a 4-base Solar. But now at least Solar does have Vipers, so the tanks are not going to be quite as problematic as they once were. Viper runs forward, and you got to be so careful here. Vipers, they hold on for about half a second now before they go after they've abducted. So first of all, you can't abduct multiple units at the same time. Second of all, Vipers are much more vulnerable when they run forward. But this Ling run by is actually pretty powerful. They only +1, but they're effectively +4, right? They do have cracklings. They do have that, or they do have adrenal glands. They do have that effectively an extra +3. But this siege deposition coming in from Solar or from Dark right now, wow, from Cure, there we go, is pretty terrifying. So the Vipers run forward, dropping blinding clouds on the tanks as well as they can. Ultras run forward. They have chitinous plating, so at least they have that. And actually, they're not dying super quickly. They will still die all the same. It seems though that Solar is able to make this break happen. The tanks are now all falling. The bio is dead as well. And yeah, we're going to see that last tank fall all the same. So this pressure coming in from Cure, it was scary. Don't get me wrong. But Solar did a great job of swarming through and making sure that that defense happened. Meanwhile, looks like Banelings maybe ran in. Got a little bit of damage in the 3rd base, but not a ton. And drop on the bottom right side is going to get dealt with for the most part. A couple drones fall, but what Solar needs are bases. He doesn't even really... I mean, he's got 73, 75 workers. He's fine there. He just needs places to mine from them. So he's able to reestablish his 4th base, mining, really super saturating that base too. Every base is super saturated or does just not have a lot of money in it. So Solar, I mean, he brings himself up to parity with a Terran, but he needs to do more. He needs to find a way to actually get 1 base up once again. Ultras, well, they're not speedy just yet, but look how much, they're so cute. Banelings actually get some great connections. And Cure, I guess, not quite microing. So now here comes the Ultra running forward. Anabolic Synthesis, Ultra speed done in now. Ultra, very, very speedy, goes forward, and it's very hard for Cure to now take the fight. Yes, technically, it's 3-3 bio versus 2-2, well, I guess 2-5 Ultras. But, or 2-4, yeah, 2-4 Ultras, there we go. But with Ultras being smaller, maybe a little harder to click on, and just occupying so much bulk that if you target the Ultras down, you have to deal with the Ling ban. It makes it a much more complicated army to fight, and that's kind of how we see this tend to go. And now, okay, we're moving into Ghost Tech, which, of course, by the way, folks, to remind you, it is not nerfed quite as significantly as it once was. As I don't know exactly what that Ultra was doing there, but hey, Ultra into lose or something. The Ultra, he's just channeling the Ultra emote. That being said, five bases here for Cure. Solar is finally reestablishing his 5, 6, 7 base setup. It's taken a while. And one of the problems of Ancient Cistern is it's a vertical map, which means that it becomes very difficult very quickly for the Zerg to expand away from the Terran. At a certain point, they actually pretty quickly on, like base number 6, they do have to start expanding towards the Terran, as that base will get killed, not canceled. And Solar doesn't really have the money to spend, although big run by shows up on the 3rd base here. So, hey, they're going to get some at not many. There we go. That's a little bit more. 6 workers go down, but I don't really think that was worth it. And now that Cure has, well, sustained this damage for the most part, it's his turn to get aggressive onto the right side. If he can get an EMP on the Vipers, remember, EMPs simultaneously buffed and nerfed right about right now in the game. They're still buffed. Maybe we give it another minute and say, okay, well, in this game state, there would be enhanced shockwaves, but those are some very low medevacs all of a sudden. Meanwhile, Ling Run by once again find their way through. These are +3 Lings now. They're a little bit more powerful. Again, another parasitic bomb knocking down a ton of these medevacs, and the Ultras seem like they ran up. Yeah, the Ultra was able to run away. The Ghost Snipe nerf, even though it is 13.5 range on the break instead of 13, still is it's being felt. The Ultras are able to take these non-engagements, and at least Solar kind of loses the engagement, but at the very least, he's able to get his army out, even if he does lose the base. So Solar's lost 2 bases, pretty much everything on the right side. But this crackling run by is getting so much done. 15, 17 SCVs go down. And now, okay, well, that's a bunch of Ravagers on the right side. They're going to knock the tank down. One goes down, second one goes down, and some of the Ravagers escape. Not everyone. That's rolling that nerf back a little bit does help that, but at the very least, some of them do. Solar can disengage and re-engage and bring himself into a better position. And oh, big fight picking off. Massive parasitic bombs on top of all of the medevacs. One tank still firing strong here. The Ravagers will knock that one down. Ghosts on the backside. They're going to cloak themselves up, split away, but there are Overseers there, so the Ghosts will now fall. Nothing really to save them. Well, I'm sorry, medevac to save them as they go back down. Snipes go down. Ultra is going to be able to get out of range in time. Thank you for A, the nerf, and B, anabolic synthesis for allowing them to run away today. Remember, folks, this game started with a failed 2-Rex that turned into a successful 2-Rex. Oh, I made a mistake. I took a drink of water as the fight kicked off. Snipes go not down again. Again, Solar can run away. And I love this. I know people were talking about how it took too much power from Terran in the late game, but we're having so much non-committal fights. Back and forth. Cure's economy, not great. Solar is running out of bases. Oh, we raced him forward there, gets a bunch of Ravagers. And Solar is incentivized. Big run by the way. Or, I don't know how big a run by it is, but a run by at the 3rd base. Going to get a couple tanks. Solar is incentivized to go and not and take these half fights. To not just kind of sit there until they turtle up to a maxed out army, but like take fights over and over again and, you know, be able to do that. But now from the left and the right side, great blinding clouds there on top of the tanks. Hard to see them on this map, actually. The parasitic bombs will go down as well. Seems like for the most part it's going to be fine. But I think all of the Ghosts, there's one on the high ground here. Decent melee connections as now Cure desperately splits backward. Solar, has he found a position in this game? It's been so bad for so long, but the Banelings force him back. And now Cure, he's got to find some snipes. But he will be able to get those okay. Ultras go down, and Solar has to back up. Solar, though, does have his base in the upper left to get scanned out, and that's something that Cure should probably be able to kill. I'm not even sure. It's funny. Cure's been on these 5 bases for so long, but even with the amount of bases that Solar's lost 5 hatcheries this game. Even with the amount of bases that Solar has lost, Cure has taken just enough damage from these crackling run-bys that Solar's kind of equalized this game. But I do like this from Cure now. Moving into the late game, it's double tank production, sure, fine. But we're starting to see Liberators getting added in on top of the Ghosts. So Ghosts are great, but they have been nerfed a little bit. So you can run away. The Ultras are not just guaranteed dead if there's a scan dropped. Which means that, well, maybe you need to find a second level of anti-Ultra play. which means Liberators, they absolutely hit that boat. They were the original answer at the start of Legacy of the Void when, first of all, Marauders were, their damage was cut into 2 damage instances, which mean armor applied twice, and then Chitinous Plating was +3 armor instead of +2. Wow, actually, that hive is very low. Cure, he gets the scan off here. A double drop, like 8 Marauders. It kills this hive so quickly. That may be worth something. Meanwhile, Cure's got a bit of a drop on the right side where Solar's trying to reestablish the space. You know, there's a lot of cracklings. I think he's gonna be able to keep this one up. But now Solar has realistically taken every base on the map that is his. For the most part, yeah, I guess he can go and okay, that's a dead hive. Transfused, be damned, Dark, you've been a little bit too greedy there, my friend. You killed it a little bit too much with the Vipers and 6 Marines. Well, even 6 Marines with +3, they kill it very, very quickly. So Solar may be starting to realize that this drop pressure is a bit of a problem. Oh. Here, you see the Vipers? Okay, no. But okay, maybe if this drops in the main base, Solar can make something happen. Liberator siege up the left side. There's really no anti-air for this. Files, sure, but they're actually not even really hitting, and the snipes go down. Ultras, well, they take damage done. They take damage even if they don't go down. And now Cure, he holds this position. You do want to heal this orbital though. Cure, it's burning down very quickly. You have SCVs here. Cure, come on, Cure. Cure. Come on, Cure, save the base. But he's not going to, not whatsoever. SCV deputized, but not enough time. Cure was not paying the attention he needed to. And Cure loses an orbital. It's not the end of the world. He's got a ton of them, but that's scans, that's mules that he would like to have, especially as he's only sitting here on 53 SCVs. Not the most... I mean, it's not the worst position. Again, he is sitting on... How many orbitals? 5? He would have been 6. Honestly, I'd like to see more at this point, but he's been trading so hard that he hasn't really been able to make that happen. And what a game 1 we have, folks. I mean, we're 23 minutes in. It seems like Solar is starting to take a bit of a lead, but it's hard to say, honestly. Yeah, Solar's got a decent mineral bank, but his gas bank is shot, and he keeps losing these bases. So even as you say, well, yeah, you know, Solar's maxed out. He's got 2K minerals in the bank. He's only mining 300 gas a second. You need... Late game Zerg needs more gas than that. And yeah, sure, he can go and he can start to take 2 gases here and gases elsewhere, but you know, he's got a little bit of gas left in this extractor. That one is totally empty. His core, not even mining it. A lot of gas there, but he's not even mining out of it. This is, I mean, he could be mining, but he's not. And a drop here from Cure on the left side. It's going to get this base from earlier. Lanes get this around, but not quickly enough. And Solar loses another base. What's that, the 6th dead hatch? Yeah, 7th dead hatch, actually, as the hive goes down. So now here comes pressure from Solar onto the planetary is dead. The question, though, is whether Solar will lose enough, or whether Cure will be able to get enough on the backside. I don't think so. Ghost Run 4, though, they're cloaked up, and this should be in range. And Ultra takes the snipe, but does not die. It runs away just enough in time. And that's kind of unfortunate there. Maybe I would like to see the range on snipe timeout increased a little bit more. But, you know, actually, someone put a spreadsheet together, and most units off creep or even on creep, it's about half a second they have to respond, which is, you know, maybe I'd like to see that more of a quarter second, but regardless, it seems just about fair. Is now Blinding Clouds on the left side. A lot of these ghosts are going to get shot at, but they are able to escape. No detection right there, and now here we go. There are always 2 fights when you're fighting against a Terran. There's the fight you engage where you run forward, and then they kite backwards, they turn on their stuff, and life becomes more complicated. That's what we saw right there. As snipes go down, ultras fall, Solar supply plummets, and again, Solar's not mining a lot of gas. 3, 4, maybe 500 a minute. He has the basis for it, but he's not mining out of it. And again, it worries me a little bit. I don't like Solar's economy management. He's not building any sort of a bank, and honestly, in this game state, you kind of want to build that bank. You want to be able to remax over and over again. And while this is a map that is fairly large, it's hard for the Terran to steamroll across the map and end the game. You still don't want to be caught in this situation where even if you have the larva to remax, which, by the way, there is no larva on the map right now, you want to make sure that you have the gas, and you want to make sure you have the time to build your banelings and your ultras and your whatever it is that you need. But finally, Kira is continuing this transition into Marumech, is maybe what we want to call it. This late game Hellbats, which have +3, as the Spore is going to block this 6th base coming in from Kira for about half a second, maybe a little more. So, well, that's a little bit awkward there. Corruptors are going to try to snipe this planetary that is defending this position, but with Thor's being here and Ghost as well, he gets the planetary. And actually, surprisingly, not many Corruptors go down. In fact, it's going to be a dead Thor. I thought this was a bit what's the word I'm looking for? A bit hopeful from Solar, but no, it does end up working out. But again, Kira is transitioning into this late game Maru mech. Blue Flame Hellbats that one-shot Lings. Getting into Thor's, it's Ghost Thor Hellbat. But this base on the right side will go down, and honestly, the only thing that matters is the orbital. But that orbital will fall here as well. Bailey's actually gets some really good connections here. Marauders not where they need to be. All the Marines go down, and a disaster of a fight here for Kira. I think he still gets the base, but no way in... Oh, wait, wrong button. No way in hell was that cost effective. I mean, I guess it technically is because of fights elsewhere. I really thought there was no way that was cost effective. Kira gets the base though, and he gets a lot of these drones. He took good fights elsewhere. Okay, maybe it was, but yeah, I guess this is the last fight too, and he got a Viper and 120 Lings. Solar loses a base, so too does Kira. I think he lost the orbital, right? Actually, that doesn't show that. Yeah, he did lose the orbital. So now he's back down onto, what's the count? He's back down to 5. Okay. So, but here comes Solar once again. Again, he's lacking the gas to really remax this army. And as the game goes super late against the Terran, yeah, it's not going to happen. Solar, he takes a base down. Kira takes Solar's life down. And in 28 minutes, what a game number 1. God. Ghost Nurse delivering. In the upper left, folks, in the blue. He's down a game. He lasted so long. He lost 7 hatcheries, something like that. It's Solar. His opponent in the bottom right in the red, up 1 game in this series for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Cure. And I can't get over how good that game 1 was. Like, honestly, it went to 30 minutes, but it was not one of those games that I've been complaining about, actually, rather publicly about in the last year of meta that we saw Maru do, where he turtles up, and actually, I mean, this was the TvZ meta for a while, and it was horrible, where Terrans would just go and they would realize that, okay, I'm not killing the Zerg for the next minute or so, like I'm not killing the Zerg in the mid game, so I'm just going to turtle up hard as hell. I'm going to get myself up to 4 or 5 bases. I'm going to put Ghost Mech, and I'm going to grind the game out in this really obnoxious, boring play where nothing happens for like 30 minutes. It's like, well, okay, you won. And I guess it's not as bad as like Swarm Host Error or Lord Infestor or something, but it's still obnoxious. So, of course, if you're curious, I think it was 60-40 Solar favorite in a best of 5. Yeah, it was like 62, 48, 38, something like that. Now that Kira's up 1, though. That's actually very interesting. Oh, that's weird. I don't feel like that's right. Aligulac's screwing with me here. It says the win chance is favoring Cure, but it still thinks Solar's going to win 3-2. Which is a bit odd. Let me see if I can... I'm trying to... I wonder if that's an issue with my tool, or whether that is an issue with my... or whether that's just Aligulac being a little weird. Come on, Aligulac. Give me a prediction before we get into this super far. So if we say best of 5, doesn't really work on the phone. Doesn't really work on the phone super well. Ah, somehow that got swapped. Weird. Cure actually theoretically is a 53%. Oh, that's interesting. I need to rethink how I do this. So, all right, folks, we're gonna dive in. We're gonna dive into stats a little bit because there's not a ton. It's a Liberator opener, and actually, you know what? We'll talk about this in a second because this is kind of cool. Liberator has been buffed by 50 gas. Like that was there was a big suite of changes, but Liberator now has been buffed by 50 gas, and that does incentivize. We've seen Cure doing a lot of Banshee openers, but that does incentivize this Viper, or not the Viper, excuse me, this Viking Liberator opener. That, hey, you know, it's 25 gas cheaper. It maybe you can afford that a little easier. Still have a solid stim timing, something like that. But the Liberator is going to siege up the main base, and I like. Oh, this is actually pretty cool. Notice what Solar did here. He does lose a worker anyways, and his fourth base seems like it's going to stay alive. He just made sure he kept Lings under the Liberator, so the Liberator would target Lings over drones, and you'd always rather lose one or two Lings versus 1 or 2 drones. I have time to talk about this. I kind of want to talk about this. Yeah, it seems like I do for the moment. So the way I have things work when I say, okay, what's the most likely score? And the way it works is I say, okay, well, you know what? Aligulac gives percentage chances that the game ends in a certain way. So in this game, on Aligulac right now, it says it's a 25% chance that Solar 3-2s, 21% chance that he 3-1s, and then a 16% chance Cure 3-0s, a 20% chance Cure 3-1s, and an 18% chance-ish. I mean, it's going to add up to over 100, but I'm rounding here that it's a 3-2. So technically, the most likely score is still a Solar 3-2, despite the fact that Cure has a better win percentage, or has a better win chance, which is really fascinating to me. That doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, it makes some sense, but anyway, I don't know. We'll talk back about the game. I made the tool. I'm understanding the tool. It's kind of cool. Anyways, double drop here from Cure at the front of things. He's going to find 2 queens at the start. That's very nice. This creep is not going to be quite as developed as it might otherwise be. And you add the Hellions on top of it. Suddenly, this is a lot more difficult to deal with. Banelings are going to morph in, and they're going to waddle their way forward. Ling's looking for this round. They get all the Hellbats, but who cares? Because the Marines are here, and they're the ones that really matter. And yeah, the Queens now, they're starting to fall down. Medevac's still staying alive, and now this will be forced back. Queens get a little bit too low in number, but Saving Private Ryan keeps the last Marine that was somehow elsewhere alive. And here comes the pressure from Cure in earnest. He's got his 1-1 now done. Solar took that last fight without failing speed, but up in upgrades. And that meant that it was just a little bit better, but now that upgrade disparity has finished up. And this rally from Cure, I mean, Neo Humanity is a pretty big map. It seems like it's taken a while for his rally to find their way across, but the Queens continue to fall down. Solar looking for a bit of a run by. Solar looking for a bit of a run by, and now it's a kind of this awkward situation where both players are doing tremendous damage to each other, but it seems like Solar has found more. He's going to force his opponent into the natural, and yeah, the Marines actually, it should be enough to kill the Lings off, but it's going to be a dear thing. 20 workers have gone down, and a couple Lings still remain. The pressure from Kira got nothing done, and suddenly, much like in that last game, Kira's been making these very powerful, okay, what am I? Doesn't get a lot. I've been making these really powerful moves with his main army, and then Solar, realizing how much time he has, realizing exactly what's happening, he just goes and he hits with a counterattack of 20-30 Lings, and suddenly Kira takes a lot of damage. But I am also kind of excited about this. One of the changes in the patch that I thought was going to be very significant, and I have not seen any of it, is the Hydra change. Hydras are now a little bit faster off creep. They got rid of the change that made Hydras faster on creep. In fact, they were faster than Banes. And they did nerf it from, it's like 0.98 faster now instead of 1.2. I forget the numbers, but somewhere around there as a result of Hydra speed. We don't even have Hydra upgrades on the way. Well, we do have Hydra speed on the way now. So Hydras now, they're much faster off creep. And with the damage point, they can kite a little bit better. Although realistically, you're not worried about kiting with them as quite as much unless you're looking at the rest of your army's dead and it's just Hydras. You're more interested in Hydras run forward, auto attack, and well, you're controlling your Ling Bane most of the time. Now Solar runs forward, gets a couple Marines. And this is, again, actually, this is a big timing. 1-1 was pretty close to the 1-1 of Kira, but Kira very much forgot his 2-2. So this is a significant timing window where Solar is going to have a lot of Hydras, and they will be speedy boys. Give it, I don't know, 30 seconds. And Kira does not have his upgrades. So Solar is very... there is now a very real world where Solar floods across the map and ties this series up. But he's not even necessarily going for that necessarily. There's a hive just about done, right? He's getting his sixth base up, excuse me, eventually. We see that. We see him trying to take this forward base. There we go. Man, what an awkward base to try to take, but it has rich gas at the very least. Hydras now try to target down the medevacs, and they are speedier. They're not the oppressive speed that we saw, but actually, I'm sorry, hold that thought. Lings try to find their way into the third base. There's one tank here, and well, medevac's full of units, but that just means the entire army needs to join the fray. More and more Lings are on the way, more and more Banelings, adrenal glands. Kira trying to make something happen on the right side, but there are plenty of Lings and Banes where that came from. And did we get Neo-Humanity in GSL? This is gonna be a dead medevac. I'm getting some serious deja vu vibes about a Dark versus about a, what was it? A Dark versus Beyond, I think it was. The space kind of has me thinking about that, but maybe there was I think there was another map that wasn't Neo-Humanity that kind of had a similar forward base type of idea like this. But I feel like I want to see Solar take these rocks down, though. He takes down the rocks on the right side, but I feel like we still need the ones on the left, because that's actually a pretty nice position for the Terran to push if Kira ever unlocks himself on the map. Because as of right now, that run by put such a made his life so much more difficult. He had this great tempo. He was killing all the queens. He had upgrades timing out well. And then he's forced all the way back home. He can't... Oh, good target fire there. Great target fire there from Kira as he comes down the ramp. And Solar's kind of half caught in the slow zone. If there ever was a fight that Kira was going to take, it was going to be right now. And so many of these Banelings have been targeted down. That was... He targeted 11, 12 Banes. That's actually really good. That was fantastic target fire. But this game is again being forced late. Strap in, folks. Game's going a little bit longer, but in all honesty, these have been far more engaging ways of getting into the late game versus the meta 6 months ago. So I'm happy about it. Again, Ghost Nerf seems to be... We're not in the Ghost Nerf stage right now, but you know what I'm saying. Lots of tanks there on the right side. Massive parasitic bombs in the bio. Well, they're going to split backwards here. The Banelings don't get the connections they want necessarily. Great splits from Kira, or really just good target fire. I don't even think he split all that much. He just shredded all the Banelings as they ran forward. I got a really powerful computer, folks. Got like a 3090, and I think we dropped some frames there. I think there was a little bit of lag. That was a big move that Cure was able to stay alive. It was good tank shots, and how many banelings went down? 30 banelings were killed. And that doesn't count. Yes, some banelings did make connections. That's not counted in the battle report. Cure killed 30 banes for 24 marines. That was, again, that was a step. Solar still dominates the map. He still has creep spread over 50%. He has that base that technically should be difficult to take. But cost effectiveness, 6K in the lead for Cure. At this stage in the game, when we're only looking at 5 bases, that's actually very good. Normally, you would want to see the Zerg wants to be about 3K behind. At this point, it does start to snowball forward as we'd move into the true late game, and the Zerg takes the map, and they go up 10, 12K pretty quickly, even in winning games. But for right now, Cure has personal cloaking done. He's got 3-3 there for the ghosts. He's going to get +3 mech attack soon enough as he approaches max out here. Lings and mains are going to try to come crushing in on the planetary. Great blinding cloud actually on the planetary and the tank as well. So this is going to be a dead base for Cure. Not going to be able to hold on to this one, but it stays alive for quite a while. And honestly, not many SCVs go down, so that's not terrible. There are still many bases that can get taken, and meanwhile, well, run by, drop, find his way onto the other side, but in the main base, yep, okay, that's what we can do. Run by, tons of lurkers in the main base here. Seems like that drop has actually been dealt with. And the snipes are going to have to go down on this one. It's going to be a slowish cleanup, actually. The ghosts are not really doing what they need to do. Cure needs to go and lift the factory as he does do so. So now the lurkers are going to finally get knocked out, but, well, there we go. Dealt with the 25 SCVs go down, and here comes Solar on the left side, flooding on forward into the main base. Thor tanks, everything's going to go down. Great surrounds from the Lings. They don't even have +3, but again, Adrenal makes the difference here. But can you find your way to the second level of this? That's not really going to be nearly as easy. Solar tries to take advantage of this opportunity that he had by putting, what was it? How many lurkers died? Putting like 7 lurkers in the main base of the Terran. And Cure handled that just about as well as he could have, to be totally honest. It's not a great position for Cure right now. He's only on 52 workers. He's down 50 supply. He doesn't have +3 mech attack. He's not really getting into that late game mech transition that you would like. That third base only has 2 mineral patches in it. But he kind of held on as well as he could have. And that's something. And remember, that this was kind of how the last game felt too. This was Cure hanging on and hanging on and hanging on, as that lurker will not get much. Hanging on as hard as he can. And then Solar just kind of runs out of money. This is going to be another planetary targeted down. Banelings are going to finish it off, and they're actually getting a decent amount more SCVs. And that's the second planetary going down, and Nydus pops up on the left side, so Lings and Mains find their way in right there as Cure tries to push the pressure on the left side here, but that's going to be another dead base. So now Cure back onto 3 bases, Nydus into the natural, and Cure's, I mean, he can't really do all that much. He's knocking creep spread down. That really is all it is. He cannot get active on the map whatsoever. And I was talking about, okay, you know, this is, oh, that's going to be fourth dead orbital, or a third dead town hall, I guess, from the Terran. 3 planetaries and a command center. That's actually stupid expensive, and that may, no, Solar's still 10K in the bad. But Cure is only on 4 bases. His third base is just about mined out. We might as well call this a base and a half for the Terran right now. He's just really lacking the money that he needs. So even as Solar has been trading it pretty damn cost ineffectively, it's still a little bit awkward. But hey, snipes go down on a bunch of these Hydras. There are just so many. There's just so many Banes that even as Cure kind of gets the snipes and is okay with that one, it's so hard for him to take the fight. Ling run by into one of the last mining bases here. Well, I don't even know if we can call that the last mining base, but Nydus dropped in the main base. That seems like, well, actually it's right on top of the tank, so it's not going to go down. And that buys time for now Solar to get on top of the orbital. It's not even a planetary anymore. Lings and Banes and Hydras, they run forward. Great blinding cloud actually on the bio. Means they can't knock the Banelings down, but the base stays alive at the very, very least. And Solar, I love how he's trying to just ping pong here. We have like permanent Nydus cam on the on the picture-in-picture is Solar. Every time a Nydus pops, he tries to go and move forward and take down this last mining base of Cure. But I mean, Cure's holding on. Once again, he's holding on here. The resources lost is now 13. Every time I look, it's worse. It's now 13K, and if he can ever max out, if he can ever just reestablish his economy in any way, it may be a good position. But that income, double plus on good. So now if you're curious, how the hell do you find that base that you need? How the hell do you punish Solar for just how wasteful he's been? Solar has everything he wants. I mean, he's unlike last game when we were talking about how, you know, Solar's got this big mineral economy. He's got no gas. He didn't really take his extractions properly. This time he's on 2K. He has at least one remax in this bank, and by the time he remaxes, probably another. Solar, Kira needs to max out. Kira needs to take a monstrous fight and then just start to sweep Solar from the map in a way that Solar has not been allowing him to do, because these run-bys have just been, or these Nydus plays, these run-bys, whatever you want to call it, have been the story of this series thus far. These plays from Solar that allow him to crack open wherever Kira's not paying attention, and really, it's just a story of Solar being faster, of playing far more efficiently than Kira's. Well, not efficiently, but far more just playing faster for the most part than Kira is. Kira's just not reacting as well as he can. That's kind of funny, considering that normally we think of Terrans as the players that are the big multitasking race, the race that goes and ensures that they are able to go and, you know, like multi-prong, drop everywhere. So we got a big pressure coming in from the front. Good blinding cloud on the one tank, and while these ghosts, they cannot stay alive. Bailey's crashed them down. 1 medevac, 2 medevacs. They save 8 ghosts. But is that gonna be enough? Ghosts back on the high ground. They're kept alive, and Solar, he thinks about running in. He doesn't do it. The multi-prong, not quite what he was looking for. I mean, Kira's army is pretty terrifying, though. He's only got 8 ghosts. So as I say, it's pretty terrifying. I mean, the supplies are equal. It's only 8 ghosts. I feel like you want up to be 10, 12, 15 ghosts right now. Although, as I say that, this is more caveman Zerg than it is anything else. It's all about the, you know, it's all about it's all about the things that are not the lurkers. The lurkers are just, they're gravy. They're extras. They're trying to be something a little bit more. So the lurkers kill the natural. Ghosts are going to come in to snipe that. But actually, we chose this wrong. Here comes the main army of Solar on the right side, but supply, you know, falling precipitously again. Cure stays alive, but he lost another orbital. And we're starting to get to the point now where these orbitals are tremendously important. Cure has 4 of them, which I guess is something. Actually, he's going to take a forward base off this. 20,000 resources now. How many more bad fights? So let's see. Solar is almost mined out of this base. It might as well be mined out. And okay, Cure does find his position on the bottom side. That's going to be the first dead hatch of the game for Solar. Solar, in fact, this base is starting to mine out for the most part. It's only on 6 mineral patches, but I mean, 2 of those mineral patches are going to go down pretty soon. So realistically, Solar is only healthily mining bases the upper right, bottom left right now. Well, I guess still 4 bases Zerg for the time being, as now orbital gets lifted. Bailey's trying to find their way forward, but they connect with a lot of these tanks. So not, again, cost effective, and Cure doesn't lose all that much. This tank position is actually such a solid defensive emplacement that Cure is able to take advantage of. And now he's up 20 army supply. It's always so awkward when you're playing this style as the Zerg that is all about just, well, you know, knocking things down, playing on mid-game tech, and just winning because you have so much money, so much production. Your ability to remax is just faster. But if the Terran is able to get to where they want to be, as the snipes are going to go down on all the overseers, now you just cloak the ghosts here. It's going to be a pretty, potentially a pretty nice trade on the backside here for Cure. A bunch of workers will go down. Cure only on 19 SCVs, and that's the problem. He's not been rebuilding them for quite a while, but he needs to. You can make this happen on about 40. Okay, fine. You have 4 orbitals. You can make this game happen. I don't know you can do it on 20. So, well, he was at 19, so we saw him remake 1 SCV at the very least. So this queen will fall. But now again, this base is going to have to get lifted. More SCVs will maybe go down. But actually, that tank placement is making it actually really hard for Solar to push in. So this drop finds 5 drones. It will not get the base, but now Kira is aware that it exists. Now he moves forward, knocks a bunch of creep down, and he can take a fight through the slow zone, but he's got to run away here. Massive parasitic bomb actually is going to get a lot of these medevacs. 2 will fall, and while the third one's still there. Oh, no. Okay. Oh. 6 HP, 1 more tick. Kira thought he was safe. Kira thought he timed it out. But not quite. Not quite. So now Solar thinks he's got an opportunity, but that drop on the left side looks like it's been dealt with. The lurkers are going to deny this, but still, Ghosts with snipe. They're not bad. You snipe down whatever you can find. Energy is valuable. You get it back over time, right? But I'm a little worried. First of all, Nydus in the main base. But second of all, this big pressure comes in. Once again, Bailings get on top of the tank, but again, cost-effective trades from a Cure. I know, I guess. Sorry, just Lings ran into the main base. This game is insane. This game is legitimately... I mean, game 1 was very good. This game might even be better. I sold that thought though because big fight happening in the main base here, and you know it's not gonna work. I don't know that we call that the main base, but lurkers are gonna get tagged. Lurkers will now go down, and Bailings will start to fall. 17 more on the way, but we have to be on the map. Solar's starting to run out of gas. I cannot believe. It's actually ludicrous to me that Kira's still alive in this game. He's got 15 SCVs. He's having to drop mules to spend what scant resources he has to keep his barracks from dying. And yet somehow he's in this game. Somehow, it feels like he's just one good fight away from maybe making something happen. Parasitic bombs don't top the medevacs. That's a problem. They're all, well, actually, no. The medevac that was parasitic bomb runs away, so it's actually going to be somewhat okay. As now the Lings, the Banes, they run forward. The tank's going to fall down. Is this Solar breaking Cure right now? Despite the heroism of Cure for the last 25 minutes, it looks like it is. He doesn't have the money anymore. Starting to run out of everything. He has literally no SCVs on the map. Solar takes game 2. Folks, what a series. My God. In the bottom left, bottom right, there we go. In the blue. Lost in game 1, but played a dynamic, masterful game 2 for Kaitsa, Solar. And his opponent in the upper left in the red. Man, what a series we've had. It's Cure. I can't believe that Cure stayed alive for as long as he did in that game. Honestly, kind of insane. I can't believe he stayed alive for as long as he did in that game too. But at the end of the day, that mount was very wide open, and it felt like it was just impossible for Cure to lock down all the Ling run by angles, and he was never able because of that run by. It's kind of crazy to attribute that entire game to a Ling run by that happened at like the 7-minute mark, but that run by forced Cure back. And then because Cure was forced back, he didn't have the tempo. He wasn't able to start dropping, wasn't able to really start to siege control the game. And then, well, Solar expanded to everywhere, everything everywhere all at once. Was able to go where he needed to go from that perspective. And, well, Cure, for a while, I mean, it looked like he was starting to fight his way back into that game. He was just never able to establish the tempo that he was looking for. So now that we're into Graysvon is Actually, I haven't had a chance to really look at these maps too much yet in terms of like, yeah, it's a 37-second rush distance or 35, whatever it is. I think this actually is like around 37 actually, but the big deal is it feels like the 4th or 5th base is going to be very difficult. Oh, I forgot to set title. It's going to be very, very difficult for Zerg to take fights in. Totally lost track of thought fixing something. Forgot to set my stream title and, well, oops, forgot about that. Anyways, though, we've had 2 games now. Cure opened with a 2 racks in game number one. It didn't work, and then he was able to deny the 3rd base of Solar for quite a while, and it kind of did. And then he took a great fight against a bunch of Lings by adding 2 Hellions into the mix, and suddenly it's like, okay, well, you know, this is actually pretty good for Cure. But it seems like he doesn't want to play these long games anymore. It's going to be a concussive shell Marauder Hellbat timing coming out of here in this game number 3. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know. They can tend... I feel like, for the most part, Hellbat timing is just kind of flop. But the cool thing... This is actually super cool. Because I don't think there's a world where Solar really anticipates this. It's a 3rd base at... It's a 3cc build, right? You start the 3rd base very early. It's on location by like 440 into the game. Why in the world would this be a Hellbat timing? Well, in part because it's not expected, and in part because it's not expected. Sleeve of Solar has the read. I mean, he's building a couple Lings, but that's just because you want to build Lings at this point. He saw the Hellions, right? He thinks this. Yeah, he's not responding to this. This is going to be a problem here. Hellbats or Hellions on the high ground. Spores everywhere. He thinks this is going to be Hellion Banshee. Folks, I got news for you. It's not. This is a couple more Lings are going to get made. Now, Solar maybe starting to realize that something's a bit up because he hasn't seen anything. But 10 Hellions turning into Hellbats, waddling their way forward. It's going to be so hard for Solar to hold this. Now, the Lings, of course, they have to stay back until the Hellbats go down some way, shape, or form. Spore is going to run forward at least to try to get on top of the medevac, and it is only 1 medevac, so that's that. But Lings get barbecued immediately. Bit of a run by on the other side. Goes into the natural there, but I don't know how much it really will matter because there's no way that Solar holds on to this. I don't think. There's just not enough here. More and more Hellions rally across, more and more Marauders, more and more medevacs, and this is already, I would think, doing game-ending damage. Run by doesn't do enough, and here he takes the 2-1 lead. In the bottom right, folks, here in the blue, he's down a game of this series because Hellbats and Marauders kind of killed him. He is Solar. And in the upper left, into the red, up 2 games to 1 because his Hellbats and Marauders, they did work. Cure. So now that we are in game 4, I do appreciate it. Does, by the way, does a legal act finally say that the mean score is that the mean result is actually going to be a Cure victory here, up 2-1? Yeah, it does. Okay, we're on that one. We've done away with the statistical insanity, or the statistical shenanigans that we had earlier on. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Illegal Act, for being sane. I appreciate it. What does Cure go for here in this game 4? This does strike me as something that will be that will be somewhat of a Zerg map, right? If we think about it, you have this fairly wide open third base, right? It's kind of hard. Terran doesn't have a really good tank position that they can start to siege in. You have this middle of the map that's pretty wide open. This base, maybe that's a little harder to take, but you know, the core four seem pretty doable. This space outside the front, yeah, I would actually not be surprised to see this turn into very much of a roach map, really, because I don't know what the rush timer is actually. It might be. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly where it is. It feels like it might be somewhere in the order of 35 to 37 seconds, which is kind of how things are for the most part. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, this is a very quick layer, but it's only on one gas. This has got to be Nydus play, I guess, coming in from Solar in this fourth game, and there's no Roach Warren down though. I mean, I guess when you're going Nydus play, you drop your Roach Warren just a little bit later. You don't really see builds like this all that much. I would think I really would think we would see a Roach Warren going down right now, and especially it's such a quick layer, but it's only on one gas. This is not going to be mutaplay unless, like, I guess he drops 5 gas right now or something, which is not how this is going to work. So what is Solar? It can't be a Queen Ling Nydus, can it? He's building Lings. What the hell? What are you doing here, Solar? Okay, there's the Nydus going down. Yeah, that makes sense. As wow. That the Artosalope, the Tasalope, whatever it is, moves very, very fast. But this looks like it's gonna be Queen Ling Nydus against a Terran? What the? I don't think I've ever seen Queen Ling Nydus against a Terran. This is crazy. But if Cure, I mean, part of the reason this might be good is if Cure does not expect it, then all okay, yeah, sure, fine. You get a 30 Lings in the Terran's main base. Their Hellions are on the other side of the map. Maybe that's worthwhile. And Solar has certainly set himself up there to have vision in the main. Nydus notification now, but there's no wall here. Actually, you know what? That's maybe one of the reasons this is okay. It's kind of hard to wall off the natural, but Ling's run into the mineral line, and, well, Hellions are going to clean that up. Really not much damage here to start for the Nydus in the main. That is really what the question is. So what's pumping out of it? Queens pop out in the main base here. Hellions have to retreat on over. And there's no tech lab, right? We're not going to have Cyclones. We're not going to have tanks. Nothing like that. It really is just Marines and Hellions as Lings try to find their way into the natural. SCVs have been pulled, and a bunch of them are going down. But remember, Workers fight just a little bit better than they previously did. Queen's getting low, and some of them are off creep. But this feels like, as much as I've been talking about how, well, it's Queen Ling Nydus. What the hell is this? SCVs are getting eviscerated here. Although, in fairness, Cure does have a third base. So as long as he holds on, triple mule, and again, the SCVs that are untouched at the third may allow him to make something happen, but he just doesn't have anything that kills these queens. In fact, I think that was a barracks that had to get canceled. Yeah. So production here lacking. Queens keep running forward, and the Hellions they kill the Lings fine, but the queens will pretty much never die to this as the creep continues to push forward. So yeah, there's stim, but there's 2 Marines, and folks, we're going to game 5. Okay. In the upper right, in the blue, he took games 2 and 4. He is Solar. And on the bottom left, in the red, he's taking every odd game. Will he take this one too? It's Cure. So this is a weird map, right? It's got carpets on every expansion, which are kind of weird. We have these spaceships that have, we can't see it right now, but we have spaceships that have people waiting to get inside of it that I know May on Fire, or May on Fire was, there we go, there's the people, was super excited about, was super excited that it actually made its way into the game. I can't believe a Queen Ling Nydus worked. It's a meme against Protoss. It's kind of a meme against Terran too, but if you're not expecting it, and certainly if it's on a map, like I don't have the names of the map in my head yet, but like the previous map where it's actually a pretty wide open natural, so you have Lings running into two bases simultaneously. It's very hard to defend, especially if those Hellions are on the map and they have to run back home. So maybe that is viable. Realistically though, a lot of cheesy builds are super viable when the maps are new and players aren't used to putting supply depots for scouting edges, corners of their bases where it needs to be, or I have not, for whatever reason, the sound has not been working for a while. I have not heard the war horn of a resub in a long time. That was a jump scare. But anyways, where are we going in this fifth and final game? Does Cure gamble on another sort of all-in? Does Solar have something in store for us? If we think about the map, it's, you know, it's a fairly wide open natural. It's gonna take it's gonna take like 5 or 6 supply depots to wall this off. Maybe some roach build, but Solar's not really a roach boy. He's not one of those players that really enjoys going for the roaches for the most part. He's much more Langbane Hydra or Mutiling Bane or mid-late game Caveman Zerg kind of for the most part. So I don't know that we're going to see. I mean, he did go roaches in one game in this series, but that was a reaction to being behind more than it was, I think, his preferred method of playing this game. But Cure, of course, for his part, seems like he's going for the TY 2-1-1, right? We do have barracks down, factory down, and command center down. And then, of course, the second barracks getting added on pretty damn soon. You get 2 Hellions out of the reactor, then the barracks moves over, and it's a 2-1-1 that moves out of the map 30 seconds later, hits 30 seconds later, but you got a third base behind it. And it's a little harder to scout because, again, the timing is a little different, and there are Hellions on the map. So it's not quite the tell of, wow, it's 4 minutes, I haven't seen a single Hellion. This must be 2-1-1. It's just not the tell. Which, hey, can favor the Terran just a little bit. But Solar, I mean, should be aware of how things work at this point. He's played how many games against very similar ideas. But he's not going to get it off the scout, though. Overlord is going to find a bunch of Marines on the high ground, and, well, they're going to tap it down before the second barracks can get scattered out. Although, even still, seeing the barracks with the reactor on it is kind of a tell in and of itself. If this was anything else, you would see a reactor on the factory, or really, yeah, reactor on the factory for the most part, maybe the starport. So that by itself, the fact that there is no tech lab on that barracks should tell Solar that this is the TY 2-1-1, which means he is very free to drone. He has those 6 Lings. It's 4:45, and he has not built a single more Ling in this game outside of the first 6, which is fantastic. He's going to have to start building some eventually because, again, this timing is going to turn on in about 30 seconds, close to a minute, really. But for now, he's going to be able to drone as hard as he can, and he has to, because unlike a standard 2-1-1 where you go and you drone hard and the Terran hits you with 16 Marines and 2 medevacs and you build 30 Lings at 4:30, the Terran has a very good economy out of this. Their third base is on position before 5 minutes. They're able to build to drop triple mules. They're building 3 SCVs at a time. It's even more imperative that you read what's happening and that you actually drone yourself up pretty much as hard as possible. But here comes the pressure from Cure right now. 3 Hellions, a bunch of Marines, and it's 5 Queens here at the front with a bunch of Hellion, or with a bunch of Lings behind. But, well, hey, an Overlord goes down to start. It's not going to supply block Solar, but brings him a little bit closer to it. But the Banelings, they trundle forward, and there's just a little bit too much here on the ground for Cure to really try to target the Banelings down and maybe make something happen right there. But the Queens are a little bit further away, so the one Queen defensively on the high ground is going to have to do it. And, well, Spore goes and gets a little bit more damage on the medevac, and that will force Cure back, at least for the time being. And behind this, we're not seeing some Maru variant of a 2-1-1 where he adds in a third medevac and Widow Mines. And I mean, in fairness, this is the TY build, so it's a little different. But instead, this is 1-1. This is combat shields. This is Cure taking advantage of whatever units he has from this first push to put pressure on the map, to force Solar to build units, not drones, and maybe knock down some creep spread, maybe delay a prospective 4th in the optimal position. I'm still not sure where the optimal 4th is on this map yet. It might be the upper left. But regardless, that's all that Kier's going to do behind this, because he wants to get those upgrades. He wants 1-1 and combat shields and maybe even a 4th base. How many barracks is he adding right now? Okay, so going up to 5. This is not normally, and this is Kier as well that we're talking about, this is not all roads lead to 8 racks. I think we're going to see a 4th base get started rather soon because, well, the man's name is Kier. There was a time when he was going to late game even quicker than Mario was, if you can believe it, which is kind of crazy. Also, I hope Kira and Solar know that my phone is telling me that it's my bedtime soon, and therefore the series should end so I can go to bed. Because my phone is, you know, my watch is yelling at me. That's all that, or my phone is yelling at me. That's all that really matters. We're all slave to our electronic devices. This push from Kira is interesting. It feels like this position is so wide open. And man, this is called Royal Blood, right? It feels kind of like a palace, but it feels like a palace that is supersized. It's a palace for giants. All the carpeting and everything else, I mean, compared to the size of all the units, it just kind of feels like a Jack of the Beanstalk, right? At least, I don't know. Maybe you all don't get that sense, but that's kind of the sense I get from this at this point. Is Solar is either setting up a run by or setting up a flank. I mean, both could work, and it seems like it will be the latter. So Bio moves forward here, trying to get on top of the base, but Solar, is he going to trigger things? Baneling's at the front here, Ling's on the left side, and Solar's going to sweep this thing down. Marines, they're going to get picked up, but there's really not a lot of medevacs. So Solar, he dumpsters this fight, but with the gold mineral patch here, he can drop on the other one. Yes, the tanks go down, but still plenty of Marines still survive. And while this the pressure does get dealt with, it's not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. But the key thing, by the way, in this game is the games that Solar has won thus far have been games where Solar has been the one that has been able to go and multi-prong appropriately. He's been the one that's been able to get effective damage. But this game, oh wow, oh, Cure got the base. I'm sorry, I didn't even look. I didn't look at the HP. This game, Cure is much more effective in his harass. He's able to really put the pedal to the metal, and there we go on the left side as well. But plenty of Banelings here, so he's not going to get the base. But even still, he got the 5th. I mean, ideally you would get the 4th, but hey, 5th not bad either. And he finds this base on the bottom or in the middle right side. Certainly, though, Solar does have a hive on the way. As he adds in, well, the prospective 6th base, rebuilds the 5th. Although this drop is, this drop gets dealt with. Cura is aware of this base now, but he's not getting too much out of that double medevac drop. But Solar, again, his hive is finishing up really actually before his 2-2, so he's going to be able to get Adrenal, which is the key upgrade there on this style of Zerg for the moment. Right? You want to get, it's effectively +3 for Lings. It's far more effective than even just getting +3 is, and then the Vipers as well. So Solar is going to try to get his way, find his way into that position. Okay, but for right now, that's going to get dealt with. I see some questions about what I was talking about earlier, where Cure goes late game earlier than Mario, and I'm not saying he's doing that this game. There were times in EPT Cup, specifically against Dark actually, where he was going for like a 5-minute 4th base and not being active on the map and just turtling as hard as possible, going as quick ghosts as possible, quick upgrades, effectively getting tons of tanks, showing minimal to no interest in actually advancing into playing in the mid game at all. Just trying to get yourself into, like, turtle as long as you can and turtle into the late game as quick as possible is what I mean by that. Oh, big run by here coming in from Cure. Can he get another base, targeting it right on down? And yeah, okay, so that's going to be the 6th base going down. That's the 2nd hatch that has died as Cure stays alive for quite a while. Queens are going to try to arrive for some anti-air, and even though the medevac is low, it's not going to get knocked down. And now Cure, 2 more command centers on the way. Buckle in, folks. Royal Blood's a big map, and it does not seem to be a map that will end rather soon. It's kind of cool though looking at this. So we have we have 4 bases on the bottom side. We have this line of bases, and then there's another line of bases, 3 bases that are a little bit further forward, and that's kind of it. So it's only a 7 base map, but the way the kind of the 2 lines of bases is not something I remember seeing all that often. As Cure splits back off 3, Banelings don't get much. Sorry, it's eight bases aside. I can't count. Oh, sorry about that. But yeah, so it's going to be 8 bases, and one of them is a gold that seems like it's going to be somewhat difficult. It's going to be hard for the Zerg to take. Might be a bit easier for Terrans because you can put kind of tanks behind the mineral lines and abuse it in that way. But now here comes Solar looking for a break before the planetary is done. Blinding Cloud on 1 tank, but there's still 3 tanks behind here, so the lead tank will go down. SCVs, they're okay. Tanks fall, but that was a lot of SCVs that really should have died. That would have been 20 dead workers. And instead, Solar just doesn't commit his Banelings to it. It's a bit unfortunate, not gonna lie, but hey, he's got more Lings and more Banes running on in. The planetary is again gonna get canceled here, forced to lift up, and there we go. There's the bounty in the SCVs. But think about it. Consider the fact that Solar could have done this 1 round earlier, spent less on the engage, and I did not realize it was this bad this early. We're 13 minutes in, and it's almost double. It's almost double resources lost. Solar plus 7k on what Cure has lost. That is pain incarnate. But we are, of course, seeing a different round attack from Solar in this game number 5 as a result of this very quick hive and the map control that he's been able to find, getting the gas. Great. Oh, that's a great scan there from Cure. It will be Broodlords here in this 5th and final game. And remember, folks, they're much faster. They actually can be active on the map. And I don't know that Cure is ready for the tech transition just yet. He's got 7, well, you know, he's got 7 ghosts. And that may be something. And in fact, the Ling Bane is a decently far behind this because, well, there are run-bys everywhere. Lings find their way into Solar's base. We have a drop on the right side and then big push at the middle. I don't even have picture-in-picture to make this happen. But snipes are going to go down on a couple of Broodlords, knocking them out. Good target fire there from the Broodlings on the, or Broodlords on the Ghost. But, well, yeah, actually, that's a lot of Ghosts going down there. Not quite the effective Ghost snipes that we're looking for. And it seems like Solar will break this planetary once again. Well, break this position, but actually break the planetary finally this time. And yeah, Broodlords, there is really not a good response to it from Cure just yet. He's trying to get some Vikings out, but this caught him totally off guard. The way that Solar has been playing throughout the entirety, really, of this series does not give you any idea that is what he's going to go for. So now in this 5th and final game, tanks are going to continue to go down. Ghosts are going to look for some snipes, but that's what the Ling Bane is for. Getting right on top of it, making so the Ghosts don't get any snipes whatsoever, and the death push comes from Solar. The Ghosts continue to kite back as far as they can, but the Banelings continue to roll on forward. Ghosts, well, again, you don't need to kill them. You just need to prevent the snipes from going down. Secure, he's continuing to get pushed forward into this situation. The Broodlords can continue their siege even faster. It's not even in this game about, well, the Broodlords can defend, they can attack, and that's great. They can move from the outlying base and support the army better. And at the end of the day, at the end of a fantastic series, Solar takes the series 3-2 over Cure. But man, what a series. Games 1, 3, and 5, 1, 2, and 5. Excellent macro games, some cool cheeses in there. Everything you could want to see. But at the end of the day, yeah, Solar's just a little bit too strong. Takes game 5.